Hi everyone, I hope you're doing great out there. I'm actually a bit sick. I'm struggling a bit with a cold, so some coughs and sneezes might be added in today's video, but I hope you are doing great. Today we're gonna talk about the full moon in Gemini. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Astrid. I'm a Western astrologer. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much for joining. So before we start looking at the full moon, I do want to mention if you want to book in a session, it's best to do that before the end of this year because my prices will go up by January 1st. So let's look at the full moon. There's a full moon in the sign of Gemini, and we are currently having like a lot of shifts happening in mutable energy. We can see Saturn in Pisces, Jupiter in Gemini, and of course the Sun and Mercury in the sign of Sagittarius. So this full moon will like highlight this energy once more. This time like emphasizing the polarity of two signs. So the full moon in Gemini and the opposite sign is Sagittarius, of course. And the full moons are actually about completion, about endings, releasing, and things coming to fruition. And the mutable signs are like very affected right now. And the mutable signs are Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces. So a lot of planets are currently residing there. And the only sign that's missing is Virgo. There's like no energy placed in the sign of Virgo. So I know Virgos have been dealing with some struggles lately because all of these other planets in mutable signs are squaring towards Virgo. So that can be a little bit difficult to deal with. And mutable energy is like very, very changeable, adaptive, very movable and flexible. So that can create a little bit of instability. And we had the new moon in Gemini 6 months ago. So things that started around that time, 6 months ago, things now get completed with the full moon. And the full moon in Gemini, Gemini is like actually rules over our communication, social media, speaking, writing. It's also a sign of duality, but it rules over the news, radio, social media, magazines, the press, media in general. And this full moon is happening at the 23rd degree, and that is an Aquarius degree. And Aquarius rules over innovation, technology, explosions, eruptions are found in the 23rd degree, but also friendship, social circles, liberation, and freedom. So this full moon is actually in the same sign as Jupiter. Jupiter is being added with this full moon. So Jupiter is actually about expanding. So whatever news comes out, it's going to be like big and it will get expanded in a big way. And Sagittarius and Aquarius actually have some important themes in common. The most important theme is like liberation and freedom. So this is like actually emphasized in this full moon. So with Jupiter in the same sign of this full moon, there can be like important truths coming out. It can like create a big change. So try to stay flexible. And if you feel some instability, know that it's like normal with these aspects going on. And another important happening on the full moon that we're going to have on the 15th of December, Mercury will also station direct on the same day. So energy gets amplified by the opposition to Jupiter, communication around truth, and this like getting expanded. So things can like really blow up under this energy and expect some major revealings and some major truth coming forward during that time. The only thing I want to mention is Gemini rules duality. So be careful where you get your information from. Be careful about believing the news. But I know people who are watching my channel are probably not mainstream media believers. And if you are, that's no judgment. Just be careful and like double check everything. because the ruler of this full moon is Mercury, and Mercury is in fall. So not paying attention to the little details, overlooking something. And the fact that the ruler of this full moon turns direct on the same day is like a very, very big emphasis on everything communication based. So, and be a bit careful, because we are having we are gonna have to deal with a square to Saturn. So make sure the information you receive is like realistic and grounded, or on the other hand, like information can feel blocking, and we might feel some resistance towards the information that is gonna come out. So because Gemini rules duality, we know we are like in two big timelines, two types of narratives, and two split minds, which actually rules by Gemini. So be sure to like really double check your information, or check two different types of information. That's going to be like very important during this full moon. And Mercury, that stations direct at the same day, is at the 6th degree. And the 6th degree is a Virgo degree. And Virgo is related to everything about our health, our jobs, our duties. But it's also the sign of underlying tension and a bit of stress regarding that. So Jupiter wants to keep us, Jupiter wants us to keep an open mind, and he wants to look at things from a bigger perspective. So it's wise to zoom out and add more wisdom to our conversations during this full moon. But Jupiter is still in retrograde, and it's in fall. So some morality and justice are kind of like lacking here with this placement. So very important to not get stuck in one narrative. Try to look at both sides and try to find some middle ground, because the split in timelines since the election has been so clear, and this full moon is like asking us to review both narratives and try to find some middle ground in that. So stay flexible and try to like ground future views into reality. Saturn, the square to Saturn, that can be a little bit hard during this time. And we also have a square to Neptune that can add some confusion into the mix. And with Mercury going direct, there's like so much going on around this full moon. So there can be like a feeling of too much information is coming out. If you look at like Hunter Biden and the Corona report that got released by the House of Representatives. Now today I've read that they want to pardon Fauci as well. There's so much news coming out, and it can feel a bit overwhelming. And because it's like this full moon is happening at an Aquarius degree, like the information that is coming out is like influencing the whole collective, Aquarius, and it's going to be received through social media or media Gemini. And that's like something we can like already witness playing out right now. And with Mercury turning direct on that same day, we can like feel like we go in overdrive by reading all this new information that is being put out. So with the full moon making square to Neptune, it makes us more like susceptible to all kinds of information right now. So there can be like a little bit of confusing energy towards all sorts of information. And I think this full moon will really highlight again big lies of our mainstream media. Once again, but this time it can be like really, really big. So Neptune tends to dissolve, and it's very clear how our mainstream media is now lacking views, losing a lot of its viewers. Nobody wants to like listen or watch the lies anymore. And that became like very clear around the election, when they like compared the interview that Joe Rogan did with Trump, and then what the mainstream media was putting out, when they like compared the two sources of informations, and we looked at the views, it became like very clear that there's like a very big split going on right now. So with this full moon, expect like a very, very big karma payout around the media. And I think because Jupiter is also related to law and legality and court cases, I think some court cases can pop up in regards to mainstream media. and that can be like really expanded in the news as well over the next couple of weeks. And also, let's not forget that Saturn and Neptune are closing in on each other, and the North Node will shift into Pisces soon. So when these two big boys, Saturn and Neptune, will come together, there will be like a very, very big unraveling, because I think so much will be exposed, because like Saturn is the lord of karma, and it's going to meet Neptune, and it is the planet of illusion and deception and its lower manifestation. So I do suspect that there's going to be a very, very big unraveling when these two big boys will meet. And Jupiter is connected to global themes. So the full moon is like casting its light onto the sun that is in Sagittarius, and also Mercury is being placed there in the same sign. And Jupiter like really enlarges everything. So I do expect some very big global news that will come forth in the media, and that can create a little bit of confusion or instability. Because Jupiter is connected to travel, to the law, legality, something big connected to that can come out as well. And the squares to Neptune and Saturn, they are like connected to cheating, to lying, to corruption, things happening behind the scenes, and the lack of transparency. And that will be very, very obvious. So this full moon in the sign of communication next to the planet of freedom on the freedom degree will highlight free speech tremendously. So with all these things, I think, yeah, with the dispositor of this moon, Mercury, which rules information, stationing direct on the same day at the 6th degree, which is also a health degree, I actually wonder if there's going to be some big announcement regarding our health that will come out. Maybe connected to the bird flu, maybe some type of other disease, or something about having like to guard your health, if you know what I mean. And I do see a Jupiter square Saturn that's going to be totally exact on the 24th of December. And that's also related to travel bans, because when Jupiter and Saturn met, that was 4 years ago in 2020, there was like a very, very big implementation of QR codes, masks, and everything else. I do think some same teams will get triggered again during the end of the year. So whenever these two touch and like make another aspect in their synodic cycle, we see like another development happening around that area, around that team. So Saturn is limitations, Jupiter is freedom, and it's in the sign of Gemini, communication. And in 2020, we saw like a massive block being put out, or like put on our communication towards each other. So I think some relevant things regarding that will start to pop up again. And when we had the first Jupiter-Saturn square, we had like the UK riots that happened somewhere around August, I think 15th. And yeah, around that time, people got locked up in jail for posting certain tweets. So yeah, another big hit revolving around these issues as well. And I also expect like more revelations around Mark Zuckerberg and his law for censorship. And I wonder what the meeting of Zuckerberg and Trump will bring forward as well. And I think X will get like severely attacked in the next 6 months. Yeah, I think this will also create like a big shift in perspective. And with this moon and with the news that is going to come out, people can have like a bit of a more hard time dealing with reality, because this like portrays like a total crippling of people's belief system. And Neptune can create like a lot of confusion, and some people will try to run away from their feelings and try to find maybe solace in escapism, like drugs and alcohol. So be mindful of that can happen, or that these feelings can get triggered during this full moon. And it's like very important for us to like hold pace for the people who are going to suffer a bit. And Neptune is also about being compassionate. So be very compassionate with people who are struggling with some type of announcements that are going to come forward. Um, on a more positive side, Jupiter and his full moon, there can also be like, we can feel like a great need for adventure and spontaneity. So it might be a good time to distance yourself a bit from the overload of information on your screen and really go outside and explore the world while it's still possible. Talk to people in real life, share real conversations. Expansion can come through travel from foreign cultures or countries. Or it would be good to like shift perspectives by talking to other people from a different culture than yours. But on another level, you can also like travel in your mind and connect with people in the spiritual realms more easily during this time. And a lot of people will also try to find like a bigger meaning in their life, and this will be connected to spirituality, the square to Neptune, and a higher knowledge, Jupiter, and about like integrating more wisdom by communicating about our future vision. And with all the truths that are going to come out, our old beliefs will get like shattered. And this will result in people wanting to create like a bigger meaning or a deeper meaning in their life. And if you look at the sun in Uranus, we can see the sun is at 23 degrees and the moon as well. And Uranus is at 24 degrees, which means that the sun and Uranus are making a quincunx aspect. And Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius. So it also rules shocks, surprises, and a quincunx aspect between Uranus and the sun can like be things coming popping up very out of the blue, and because Uranus rules shocks, it can give some bit of a disruption and restlessness, but it's like trying to free you from the matrix. So embrace this energy and embrace it like your self, your unique self, and your authenticity during this full moon. And some people will express themselves more freely. It can be met with some resistance from more reserved people, with the square to Saturn, and the Jupiter-Saturn square as well. And we can also see that the sun, moon, and Neptune, yeah, because they're in square, it's like a big T square that gets played out, and that can indicate some tension. But Neptune is connected to like psychic sensitivity, to compassion, understanding, holding space, emotions, but also to misconception, bit of fogginess. Too much information and details can like create a feeling of overwhelm, especially for very sensitive people or people who have like a strong Neptune in their natal chart. It can also be a bit overwhelming for Pisces or people who have a lot of Pisces planets. So during this full moon, it's like important to listen to your intuition, to like retreat whenever you feel the need to relax, meditate, or walk by water to release the tension. And the North Node, we can see it's at the beginning degrees of Aries. It will like jump into Pisces really soon. That will happen in January, and it will be on top of Neptune. So in the next 18 months, our spiritual journey will be very highlighted. And right now, that can feel quite turbulent with all the retrogrades going on. But it has like its intention to get us more focused and more spiritually aligned with the spiritual planes and the higher dimensions. So we will like all get like a big energetic upgrade, and the frequency of Mother Earth is like really raising, and this will be like reflected through the whole collective unconscious. So the next 18 months will be like a big raise in frequency. And people who are like still hanging on or like clinging onto the old world will have like a very difficult time in navigating this energy. And yeah, they will like want to isolate, want to find solace in everything that's like calming down their overwhelming emotions like drugs, like alcohol. So I do think it will also highlight the mental health issues once more. And it's like it's best to let it like all crumble and focus on a more spiritually aligned path. It's like really the time when when the North Node is gonna shift into Pisces. It's like saying a big time to like shed off the broken parts of the world and like start healing them. Neptune is about compassion, holding space, and connecting to source energy. So it can feel a bit chaotic and unstable at first, but it's like very necessary to put us on a more aligned path and like really listen really closely to your intuition when Neptune is aspected with this full moon. And Lakeside Laura says, sounds amazing. Hey Laura, thank you for joining. So, what else? Pluto has just jumped into Aquarius. So, and this full moon is at an Aquarius degree. So, a lot of people are like changing their mind. Mercury opposite this full moon retrograde, or having like they're having conversations about more Aquarian themes. And what pops up most right now is like the domination through Aquarian themes, like more control by AI, by digitalization. And the EU just announced their digital ID. So that actually didn't took long. I didn't think it would be already implemented so fast after Pluto jumped into Aquarius. So a lot of news articles as well about like the installment of AI cameras for our safety and how that will like be very good for humanity in the future. But people are like really starting to witness the more negative effects of this transit coming into play. And I think it's really important to talk to it, to talk to each other about it. And by doing that, you like create awareness, and it then has its ripple effects, upgrading everyone's frequency and awareness. So talking, this moon is like talking about our future vision for humanity. And Aquarius rules the future, and Jupiter as well. So that's why this is like very much highlighted during this time, and under this full moon, and it will have like a big impact with Jupiter. And the best thing we can do right now is, as a collective, to really focus on humanitarianism and doing good for like the whole collective. And I think, this moon will again like highlight free speech in a very big way, and that's going to be like very much talked about over the next couple of weeks. And yeah, the last thing with the square to Neptune. I'm almost afraid to like say it, but there can be like another big event connected to flooding, because Neptune rules flooding. So, hey Nathalie, goedenavond. So yeah, big truths coming out, big revelations, a lot of information, and it can like really feel a bit overwhelming. And this full moon will be particularly interesting for Trump, because if you look at Trump's chart, he has a sun at 22 degrees of Gemini. And this full moon is at 23 degrees. So it's like 1 degree away from his sun. And it's in his 10th house. So the 10th house rules over career, reputation, social standing, leadership, authority. And he has a full moon conjunct his sun. His sun is his vitality, his ego, his sunshine in the world. And his sun shines into the 10th house of leadership. He has like this natural authority in himself. And we can see that Uranus, the planet of shocks, changes, is really close to Trump's sun, and that like indicates the rebel. So this full moon for Trump like really indicates like it means like a yearly resetting of his professional goals, a yearly resetting of his leadership, 10th house. And he will now like intuitively, the moon, sense how like his personal ambitions and his leadership, his wants and needs, how it like affects his reputation. So he will have like a more emotional, balanced approach to like problem solving. This makes it like an excellent time for him to like clear the decks and make a fresh start in his career area. So his leadership really comes to a head during this full moon. And he will get like some form of assistance in his public standing or in his career. The 10th house really is about being in the limelight. Everyone looks at you, and yeah, whenever there's a full moon happening there, it's like a time where you need to put your best foot forward, and can like really produce an event that requires you to like take charge and show the world your responsible and emotional side. His emotional side, the moon, gets triggered and blends well with his sun, his ego. So this can be like a very big emotional release for Trump. And I wonder how it will like manifest further into the next couple of weeks. And Claudia says, hi Astrid, have a great vacation. I'm booking this weekend. You have 30-minute or 60-minute readings now. Yes, you can book in for half an hour if you just want me to answer a few quick questions, or if you want to go more in depth, you can book a 60-minute session. And if you do it before the end of the year, you still like get the old prices, because I will increase my prices by the 1st of January. I'm sorry, I'm struggling a bit with a cold. I don't know if you have seen the intro, if I'm like talking a bit weird today. It's because I'm a bit sick. So yeah, a bit sick right in time for my vacation. So that's so typical. Okay, the next one is the US Sibley chart. They have a full moon. America has a full moon in the 7th house. And the full moon is conjunct Mars, the planet of war. And full moons are about culmination, about endings. So the 7th house is about your allies in combat, Mars. 7th house is like people, other people and relationships. And with a full moon on Mars, that can like indicate fighting for causes you care about, or you're like emotionally attached to, and standing up for yourself or for your nation in this case. It's like it can also like create big impulsiveness and impatience that can be like very, very powerful emotions. And the subconscious reactions are like a bit challenging to control. So that can like indicate a bit of irritability or a bit agitated. So yeah, the 7th house is about it's like the universe is saying now it's like time to strike a balance with the other, especially in war conjunct Mars. So yeah, it's like a time to like compromise and negotiate. And partnership tests are like very, very possible. But the 7th house is also open enemies. Let's not forget that. So we see the moment like the involvement of war began was when Jupiter at the 21st degree, exactly conjunct Mars, the planet of war, went retrograde. And that was like a very, very big happening. So now we have this full moon aspecting the same, almost the same degree. So yes, a very interesting placement for the US. And I hope this like indicates a sort of culmination in war over the next 6 months. And yes, Lakeside Laura, I do take US dollars. It's with PayPal, so it like automatically converts that. So that's nothing to worry about. And thank you for booking in, Laura. So the next chart I quickly want to mention is Russia, because Russia has a lot of Sagittarius placements. So very, very important for them, because if we look closely, they have a moon in Sagittarius. So this full moon in Gemini that's happening right now is like directly opposite their natal moon. So the moon is the people, and whenever a full moon aspects the moon in a chart of a certain country, it indicates like the masses, the people, and like Full moons are about endings. It's emotional, it's culmination, it's very, very sensitive. So the fact that like this full moon aspects Russia's natal moon indicates like a very, very emotional time for the people of Russia, and like really stood out to me. And I hope some culmination in regards to emotional and safety is going to end for them over the next couple of months. Then, if you look at Ukraine, this full moon in Gemini will square their Mars. Mars is the planet of war, squares are tension. So again, this is highlighted in a very, very strong way, almost at the exact degree as well. And if we then look at Zelensky, I think some very, very big news is going to come out regarding to him, because this full moon is almost exactly conjunct his rising. His rising is like people's first impression, his identity, how he expresses himself. So yeah, this will be like a full-on new identity for Zelensky. And I think some information or truths that like comes out will signal like a very big change in his identity and how he will express himself as well. So very interesting how closely conjunct all these aspects are to all these nations and important people yet again. So the story continues. Then I will quickly highlight all of the 12 signs. And we're gonna start with Aries. And if you don't know your birth, if you don't know your rising from birth in your chart, you can check it up and look it up at astro.com. Type in your birth information and you can see your rising sign. So the first one is Aries. Aries, you have like the full moon in your third house. It's about communication, travel, and siblings. So the third house is also like the media, like media in general. It can be like your website, your social media, news articles. It's like all part of the third house. And with Jupiter there can be like some travel or some expansion in how you communicate with your siblings as well. So with this full moon here, there can be like truth coming up in conversations or by reading something. There can be some confusion about that in your mind. Third house is also mind because it makes these squares to Saturn and to Neptune. There can also be some truth revealed by or about your brothers and sisters. So focus on very clear communication with them, double check everything you write down. There can be some challenges or delays around travel. Be extra careful with documents because documents are also found in the third house, and especially if it's like related to traveling. The third house is also vehicles, cars being on the road, so be a bit more mindful on the road. Some might have to fix their car, and my car is making weird noises. I'm an Aries, so I might be one of them. So Mercury is in your ninth house, the dispositor of this moon. It's like rethinking your belief system and communicating about them. Be extra careful with travel delays because the third and the ninth house axis is the axis of travel. And this is like severely triggered with Mercury retro and this full moon in the third house. There can also be some truth revealed by social media or something that you're currently studying or reading, and the truth that is going to be revealed can be like it can like add a lot of expansion in your future vision or how you like view the world, or like something about higher knowledge as well that gets expanded by learning, reading, writing. So this is like the focus of the full moon for you. And Lakeside Laura says, Fanny just had something fixed on my car, lol. Oh, I know, and like I don't have time to fix my car before I leave for my travel. So when I come home, this will be like my first task. And like Mercury is about tasks, little details. Mercury retrograde, doing things all over again. Like a few weeks ago, I went with my car to the garage and they like fixed everything. I turned back from the garage and now something is wrong with my car. Like, how typical is this Mercury retrograde? Oh my God. Okay, So good luck, my dear Aries. The next one is Taurus. Taurus, you have this full moon in your second house. Second house is about possessions, money, your income, your self-esteem. So there can be some truths being revealed around that. Be careful about dealings and like financial dealings and your possessions. And yeah, there can be some truths revealed in your own income or in the way how you make income, but especially also revolving around shared resources. So something ends or like it's culminated in regards to your finances. Maybe some of you will have like a whole new way of new income. A big new start can like end some things, a big shift in that. And an investment, eighth house, can like prove to be of great value during this full moon. And be sure to take some profits off of that before Venus will go retrograde in March next year, because that can like indicate a little bit of instability, especially for Taurus, because Venus is your ruler. So really profit of investments while it's still in green. And a new way of income can also like be added to your already streams of income that you already had. Or an old one that was like fruitful is now coming to an end and like has a big culmination. Um, you can actually, with Jupiter in this second, you can make a lot of money, but be careful about big spending, because Jupiter, there comes a lot in, but there goes a lot out as well. So, and with the square to Neptune, that can like dissolve a bit of your income. So be a bit mindful. There's like some conflictive energy. Um, and Neptune is in your 11th house of goals. Maybe goals around money are changing as well during this time. And with Mercury in your eighth house, it's like about the past few days and until the 15th of December is like revolving around renegotiations around money and around shared financial resources with a partner or a business partner. And it's like about making new agreements about your shared possessions and how you like equally divide some gains. And also you like your shared resources or your investments that you've made together can also like help you create new ways of income as well. So and your new ways of income can also be like connected to foreign countries or something related with travel with Jupiter in your second house, or something about law and legality, that as well. So yeah, reviews around that. And with Mars retro in your fourth house, if you were to make like new ways of income that are related to foreign countries or like travel, maybe you can like rent out your house because maybe you're going out somewhere else for work, and that can also be like added to your streams of income. So hey Celestial Emma, just in time, Taurus. Oh, Taurus, I love them so much. My brother is a Taurus as well. They're so sweet, but don't make them angry, because then you have to run for the hills. But overall, Tauruses are so chill, so laid back, and like very hardworking, but also it's like work hard, play hard. It's like I love the Taurus energy. They really enjoy the finer things in life. And that's what I love about them. So good luck, Taurus. Next one is Gemini. You have the full moon in your sign, so in the first house of self. It's about your identity, about your body, about your health. There can be like a major completion or a big ending, can feel very emotional. Some career blocks might see like a culmination. Some long-term goals are going to be like revisited or revised in a big way. The chart ruler Mercury, the dispositor of this moon, is also your ruler, of course, and it's currently going retrograde in your seventh house of partnerships. So you can like bump into a lot of people from the past, reviewing your one-on-one relationships in a big way, and because of that, a huge identity shift can present itself. And a lot of conversations with other people right now are happening, and this might be a little bit too much information due to the increase of this Mercury and this Jupiter and this full moon. So take time off and relax to recharge if you feel that's necessary. And all these conversations can like really impact your marriage and your business partnerships. And Geminis can struggle a bit more, of course, with duality, because you are that sign. And you can struggle a bit with all the different roles that you need to like attend to. Can be a very, very busy time. Maybe something in that is culminated right now with this full moon. And you have already noticed a little bit that the way you express yourself can clash a bit with views and or thoughts from other people, the seventh house. So truths, Jupiter, truths coming out in the house of self-expression. So maybe you are the one that's going to release some truths. Can create a bit of opposition towards other people. But yeah, with this Mercury in the seventh house, it's about how does my expression or how does my identity resonate with other people, and making changes and being adaptive and flexible and that. So good luck, Gemini. The next one is Cancer. You have this full moon in the 12th house. The 12th house is very private, very hidden. It's about sleep, dreams, rest, the subconscious as well. So there can be like some big truths, big spiritual truths coming through dreams, through meditation. You can receive signs, messages. And yeah, this full moon is like about retreating and talking to other people and like finding balance in that. Because by retreating, there can be like a massive download coming through, but don't try to fall victim to isolation right now, because with Mercury retro in the sixth house, there is so much to do, so much to review, so much job duties, so much service towards others. So some might feel the need to like really isolate during this time. This, if you do retreat, like do it for communicating to the unseen realms, not for like hiding yourself in any kind of way. And with Mercury retro in the sixth house, there's also like a big release in bad habits, and Jupiter has been expanding them in order for you to like see what's going on and maybe add more wisdom to them or look at them from another perspective, so you can like transform that. And with this full moon, you can like really, really release that right now. So very good time to adapt, be flexible, change something about your routine, and things that are like very, very difficult for your mental health. If you've been too busy, retreat, relax, and rest. So yeah, it's like balancing out your physical and your mental health for Cancer right now. And there can be like a very, very big positive manifestation happening if you release bad habits right now. So yeah, truths coming out by spirit. So it's actually a very, very beautiful one for Cancers. Or maybe the 12th house, private hidden, can also maybe, because Pluto just jumped into your 8th house, maybe you're visiting a therapist and they can reveal some truths to you about your subconscious, the 12th house as well. So good luck, my dear Cancer. The next one is Leo. You have your full moon in the 11th house. The 11th house is social circles, your networks, your friends, and your like-minded people. So some big goals can be completed now in that area, but social circles can create a little bit of confusing energy with the square to Neptune and Saturn. And your aspirations or your goals in regards to like big groups of people can like change or end in some way. And by some ending, there can be like a new support being found in social circles, and that can like create a sort of expansion. But be a little bit careful about duality in your group of friends. This can be like expanded right now as well. Hopefully this full moon culminates the duality in your friend groups. And Gemini, yeah, it rules like both sides, and some friends can be a little bit two-faced right now and create some confusion with the square to Neptune and Saturn. So yeah, there can be some truth revealed in your social network and something you need to review or relook at further. You can also like bump into some dramas related to your friends, or they go through some kind of drama and they're telling you about it. Maybe you can like provide a bigger perspective on that for them, or yeah, some advice or truth that like comes out in your social network needs to be reevaluated with Mercury. And yeah, the ruler is in the fifth, and the fifth house is your house. It's the Leo house, the traditional Leo house. So if there's like too much drama in your friend group going on, focus on yourself, prioritize yourself, relook at yourself, and focus on kids, romance, and creativity. So good luck, my dear Leos. The next one is Virgo. You have the full moon in your 10th house, and it's squaring your sign. So this can be a bit challenging. You will feel like a lot of impact because the ruler of this full moon also rules you. So yeah, that's Mercury, very important. So this will definitely impact your career, or some long-term goal can be like completed under this energy. So a significant change in your status or reputation can happen as well. There can be certain career paths that can create a bit of confusion or might feel a bit unclear. It's like still working out right now. But with this full moon, there is going to be some kind of truth coming out in regards to your career. And maybe this can like lead to a breakthrough in your reputation as well. And some of the things that I'm mentioning will become like more clear after Mercury turns direct. That's on the same day, of course, the 15th, with this full moon. But Mercury will first need to go out of shadow, so it might take some more days. So yeah, be patient if you like currently don't know where you're heading towards. So the ruler of this full moon is in your fourth house. Fourth house puts an emphasis on family, home, people you live with together, and like reviewing and making corrections in that. The issues at home can impact your career and vice versa. Maybe some things need to be reworked at home, and whenever that happens, it gives like a bigger understanding in relation to your career or vice versa as well. Um, yeah, like something big that ends in your career or in your profession can create big changes home, of course. And some private things out of the fourth house can like influence your reputation and your career path, or marks like a significant shift in that. Some private things can become public with this axis. So big take your rest, Virgos, because I know like you've been through some tougher times, and I really wish you the best. And I think after late spring, things will start to calm more down. So good luck, my dear Virgos. The next one is Libra. And Libra, you have the full moon in your ninth house. Ninth house is learning, teaching, education, love, philosophy, higher knowledge, traveling, and it's going to make a trine to your sun, moon, or rising. So it's actually very good for Libras. And if you're going on a trip or you're planning to travel, this full moon can like really impact that. So long distance, but also short term trips. With the ruler, Mercury is in your third house of short term travel. So yeah, the axis of travel is severely. The axis of travel is affected here, and maybe a big trip ends in the ninth house, and you're like reviewing or reflecting back on that. Can also be like a metaphysical trip with the full moon in the ninth house of the house of Jupiter, and Jupiter is in the ninth house. So Jupiter feels really at home, like really expanding your future vision, and like how you look at the world, and like expanding your knowledge. So maybe something you've been studying or learning, like it's a big culmination or completion right now. But the ninth house, yeah, it can like also point towards traveling in your mind, because Mercury rules your 12th house of the other realms. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool new full moon view. So yeah, this full moon, it creates all expansion to the ninth house themes. So maybe you're talking more openly about the future because it's in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is conversations, or maybe like your higher knowledge gets expanded, and now something completes in that area, and now you're like willing to talk about that to other people, or maybe you start to teach that towards other people. But do remember that your philosophical beliefs can be a bit challenged with the square to Neptune and Saturn, and that can like undergo a temporarily fogginess with Neptune and Saturn, but just know that it's like only a temporary phase. And like if you've been dealing with a court case, because Jupiter rules that, the ninth house rules that, there can be like an end in that right now, or something gets completed, but it's not fully clear yet with the squares. But either way, there's like an ending waiting. It's coming. So yeah, if you've been studying, be completion in that as well. And truths can be revealed through study, travel, higher knowledge, and having like an open mind with Jupiter there. And there can also be some truths some truths coming forward to you by someone who gives you like some sort of guidance. That's also found in the ninth house. And Mercury in the third is like re-evaluating everything you learned or everything that you've read, and now communicate about that. So it's about finishing up paperwork, wrapping up documents, agreements, and something having to do with siblings as well. So good luck, my dear Libras. The next one is Scorpio. Scorpio, you have the full moon in your eighth house, and the eighth house, that's your house. So that might feel more significantly good for you. So the eighth house is about taxes, insurance, intimacy, joint financial resources, possessions, opposite the second house of income. So yeah, it's like a very, very financial full moon for Scorpios. There can be some challenges around deep bonding, around intimacy, some issues around shared resources, and some issues about shared resources like being completed or like end now. There can also be like a very big trauma release, psychological purging with Jupiter and Gemini in that sign, and talking about that purge as well. It's a very big house of transformation. So issues with like shared resources can be expanded and culminated. So if something comes up and like there's some fight or like some issue around that, just know that it wants to end and wants to be completed. So it's actually a good time to address things regarding that. And if you do not address it, it can like create further issues into bonding and merging. So it would actually be good to bring things up and talk about them. The ruler of this moon is in your second house. It's like been reviewing your ways of income versus money from the other, or money that I didn't have to work for myself. And it's like reviewing around, is it balanced? Is it working? Are our views still aligned? And maybe correcting some mistakes in that, so it does get more aligned again. And some truths may come out about financial dealings, especially with other people. Truth in financial issues or investments can create some sort of distance between partners, and because of that, something can end. But this can be like a transformation, new beginning as well. And yeah, Scorpios are used to having deep, intimate conversations, and money is important to them. So it would be good if something is bothering you to bring it up, so it can like be culminated. So a lot of communication around these themes and around your money lately, and especially now. But you can like also talk more about your own values, the second house, and how that like impacts finances. Like, how do I say it? Like, talk more about your own values, or how the imbalance in your finances can like impact your self-esteem. That was what I was trying to say. So the full moon in the eighth can bring up some unexpected money as well, maybe from your partner, but it can like go out as just as quickly with Jupiter residing there. So try to be safe, and if you have some luck around money, like really guard it and save it, because Jupiter acts big in both ways. So good luck, my dear Scorpios. And Mem Jack says, "Woo, made it. Hello." Sending a lot of hugs back to you. And the next sign is Sagittarius. You have the full moon in your seventh house of partnerships. So yeah, your relationships have been like been getting in the picture a lot lately, have been undergoing some blocks, some changes, some reevaluations, and like this full moon is like really illuminating that right now. So there can be some completions or endings in regards to other people or in close one-on-one relationships. And yeah, the ruler of this full moon is Mercury, and it's in your sign, so you're very much impacted of this full moon. So big change in communication towards other people. If you have used this energy in a positive way and made some adaptations on how you like express yourself, Mercury retro in your first house, and like yeah, if you have been dealing with some misunderstanding with other people, that can like end now during this full moon. So that's actually quite positive. Another manifestation of this Mercury retro in your sign can be that some relationships might be ended or be completed, making space, because Jupiter also like it like releases you or sets you free. So if some relationship ends during this time, it's making room and making space for someone better aligned with a better aligned vision, Jupiter, to come forward in your seventh house of partnerships. So this full moon squares Neptune and Saturn in your fourth house, so that can be a little bit tricky and a little bit difficult to manage, because the fourth house is a very emotional, deep house. Some relationships might feel a bit foggy or create some kind of block of challenge, and you're like reworking around that with Mercury in your sign. And some partners or family members might not be fully honest with you during this time, or vice versa. And there can be some tension between communications with them. Some uncomfortable truths could come out in your home area or in your relationship, or like related to your family. This might mark an ending of some sort, but it can also be like a positive ending, because the underlying tension needs to be addressed. So you might be finally able to like move past that. And my advice is like to have real conversations with other people. Don't try to like sweep things under the carpet. Change something in regards to how you communicate, and like be open to talk more about your own situation and about how you're feeling and what's like truly going on with your family, and watch your reactions towards others people, and towards what's going on in the relationships and at home, because this is like mostly about you, Sag, with all this energy going on in your sign as well. So good luck, my dear Sagittarius. The next one is Capricorn. You have the full moon in your sixth house. The sixth house is about your health, well-being, your job duties, your daily routines and habits. And something important in regards to your work can be completed. Maybe a big project at work is being culminated. And with Mercury retro in your 12th house, this is about balancing your physical and your mental health. So some of the Capricorns had some very, very important conversations behind the scenes or in a very private manner. And things can be about, these can be about your health or something that's been going on at the office or with your colleagues. Maybe some colleagues are doing some things behind your back as well, and like this moon is like ending that or like illuminating that, bringing some truths about that. And yeah, the Mercury retro in your 12th house can also be about wanting to retreat from work because of these underlying issues as well. Some Capricorns really want to like take some time to reflect about work, about the past, about how to move forward. And the full moon in the sixth is some important event at work can also influence your stress levels. And hopefully over the next couple of months until we have a new moon in Gemini, this can be culminated, these stress levels and these things happening maybe behind your back at work. Good time to like look at how you release some stress in relation to your work. And some truths can be revealed around work, but also around your health. So focus a bit more on spiritual matters when you feel overwhelmed because of that. Retreat, recharge, rest. Because some matters at work and in your health area will be revised, and some of you might feel a bit out of balance because of that. And with Jupiter in the sixth, there can be like an abundance, because Jupiter rules abundance, but like an abundance of tasks and duties that can like really leave a strain on your mental health. So take some time for retreating, for healing, relaxing, and like take some time to like unwind from the duties. It's like a very, very good full moon for that. And Lakeside Laura says spot on for Sagittarius. I know. Yeah, that's so interesting for me to hear from you. I'm always wondering. Sometimes when I read the chart and charts, and I know some of the signs, and I'm like, oh, this is like going on for them right now, and it's like very, very spectacular sometimes. So the next one is Aquarius. You have this full moon in the fifth house. It's trying you, so it's good. The fifth house is about romance, creativity, your children, and something big gets like culminated in that house right now. It can be meeting someone new. It can be about a change in your children's life. It can be about a creative project that's coming to an end. And it can be like very, very beneficial. Like the fifth house is about joy, about fun. It's also about speculative investments. So if you have like some profits, be sure to like take them before March, when Venus will go retrograde. Then we can have some financial instability. But like, yeah, also good things can cost a bit more with your traditional ruler Saturn in your second house of income. Be mindful of that as well. Maybe you've spent too much on joyful things, and maybe now this gets ended because you need to budget once more with Saturn in your second house. It's not that easy. And yeah, there can be like some tension between wanting to have more fun and like having to dial it down a bit because you need to budget more. So some investments or some big truths coming out in regards to dating, in regards to children, in your creative abilities and talents. And that if you like invest in that right now, that can be like very expansive for the future. So hang on, Aquarius. I know the money area or the money sector in your chart has not been that easy, but if you like make some investments into yourself, that can be like very, very prosperous in the future. So your creative expressions are like infused by idealism with Neptune square, but be like careful that everything you are creating is like realistic and grounded in the long term. Saturn really asks that. So, but yeah, can be very, very inspiring for you, Aquarius, with this Neptune in the mix here. Also be careful to not go invest right now in something speculative, because Neptune can also like point out towards illusions, like everything, the markets are up right now, a lot of people are putting money in, but maybe there's going to be some kind of correction. So be a bit mindful of that and don't fall victim to FOMO. That's also very important because Neptune can add a bit confusion into the mix. And if you meet someone new, because the fifth house is also about dating, be careful about over idealization and looking through some rose-colored glasses. That's also very important. And Mercury is in your 11th house, so good to show like your creative projects to groups of people or people or to friends in general. the 11th house is also your social network. So good to like show your creative talents towards groups of people. Mercury in the 11th is also like reconnecting with friends and having fun with them. Watch your budget and watch out for alcohol. And if you drink too much with friends, the fun you're having can create a bit of confusion, and some truths can be revealed by your romantic partner, but also by your children. So, Ma'am Jack says Libra rising Mars was retro in my natal in Virgo. Libra rising Mars was retro in my natal in Virgo. Ah, you're born with the natal Mars, with the natal Mars retrograde. They say people who are born with Mars retrograde have a bit difficulties in like really addressing their anger. They try to suppress it too much to keep peace and harmony. So it's actually important for you to really dare to show it in a healthy way whenever you are angry, because that can be like a little bit be swooped under the carpet a bit with Mars retrograde in your natal chart. And of course, it's been strange for you the last few weeks with Mars going retrograde. People who are born with a Mars retrograde are, of course, under a bigger influence whenever Mars in transit in the sky goes retrograde. So, yeah, it can feel a bit strange, especially. You're an Aquarius sun as well. Oh, that's so cool. That's an interesting combination. And I love Neptune as well, because Neptune is like the planet of spirituality and higher dimensions and like connecting to the unseen realms. Unfortunately, here on Mother Earth, not a lot of people are really evolved enough to like benefit from the higher manifestations of Neptune. A lot of people, when I see Neptune very, very prominent in their chart, they are really, really attracted to drugs and alcohol, because they're like, they didn't deal or didn't learn when they were younger as a kid how to deal with their emotional sensitivity and like these antennas that pick up everything in their surrounding. Like people who have strong Neptune, they are like very, very spongy like, and that can create a lot of confusion, because you like don't know where your emotions start and where other people's emotions begin, and they get like severely intertwined, and they are like so empathic that they take on other people's emotions. So it's like a very, very special planet, Neptune. So the next one is Pisces, and I was like just talking about Neptune and Pisces. Of course, Neptune is your ruler, so you really know what I'm talking about, right? And I have 4 planets in Pisces, so I really know that can be a very big blessing, but also a very big curse, considering how you are feeling day to day. So Pisces, you have the full moon in your 4th house, and your 4th house rules family, home, people you live with together. And the 4th house, well, the moon belongs to the 4th house. It's in its traditional or in its home house. So that's actually good for Pisces. You can feel like a little bit more emotional towards your home situation during this time. Maybe you want to cocoon a bit more and you would like to retreat and come in touch with your emotions. Not so fond of having to go out there, and Mercury is like been correcting a lot of things and mistakes, and having to review things in terms of the outside world and your career and your reputation. Maybe you're like, "Oh, I had enough, I want to like retreat and stay at home and be comfortable, and not to deal too much with the outside world, because you have to like redo things there." The 4th house is also about final endings, so this can be like a very emotional full moon for you, because full moons in itself are already about endings. So a big completion could also be like hard to let go of right now, or maybe you feel a little bit sad or emotionally attached because something is over, something is ending. And maybe you're very, very, yeah, attached to what's ending right now with this moon. And Jupiter like really enlarges that. And with the Mercury, the ruler in your 10th house of career, maybe it's about a career project, or maybe about something having to do with people and authority over you, or with your reputation in general. So maybe you had to like review some kind of big project and add something or correct something, and now it's finished. And Saturn in your house, in your sign, yeah, it makes you very, very hard working over the last few years. Actually, since March 2023, there's like weight on your shoulders to like really perform and commit and take responsibility. Maybe something in that could like end right now, which would actually be more positive. Um, but yeah, the Saturn in your sign can feel very heavy, and make you more emotional, and maybe that like wants to make you spend more time at home because you need some rest or recuperation. And Jupiter, yeah, the planet of expansion is found in your fourth house. So whatever happens now, good or bad, emotions really get expanded. So I hope for you that these were like positive emotions, but maybe you're letting something go in regards to work, and that creates like a big emotional impact of emotional release. Or maybe you need to go to work again and you have to leave the house more, and that's a place where you like feel safe and nurtured, and this can like create a bit of tension in yourself. There can be some dissatisfaction found in yourself about home or career right now. Maybe things get a little bit delayed, with this Mercury squaring your sign. It was like tough. It is a tough Mercury retrograde for the Pisces, and also this full moon also squares you. So there is some tension in the home and the career area. And yeah, you've been like feeling this very strongly since June. Maybe you felt a bit confused, not really knowing where to go. And no, if you feel that coming up right now, it's just because it's like this full moon squares your ruler Neptune, and that can create a little bit of fogginess. So if you feel a bit overwhelmed of experience big emotions, go talk to your mother or someone in your family. They can be like of some type of guidance to you right now, and they can like really put things into bigger perspective with Jupiter. And there can also be some truths revealed in regards to your family, or in your home, or with people that you live with together. So thank you so much, Mem Jax, for saying that. I have been dealing a little bit with a cold, and it was a little bit harder to really think about words, and like I have been feeling a bit sick, but I wanted to say goodbye and wish you all a happy holiday. And Natalie is saying, so funny, the past few weeks, every weekend I have to do something, and the 15th of December is the first Sunday that I don't have to be somewhere, and I'm looking forward to just like chill out on the couch, or to like crawl under a blanket. That's so funny, Natalie. Yeah, that like really, really resonates. It's like sometimes it is so mind blowing to me. And now that I like learn all the signs way better also by doing this on a more regular basis, it's so funny to like see what's been going on. And by asking my friends what sign they are, this is my first question, like standard. I can know like, oh yeah, Jupiter is there and there, and you have a full moon there and there, and it's like it's so funny for me to do and see. So thank you so much, Natalie, for commenting that, and like really like highlighting the reading I just did for Pisces. Is so incredible that it's happening for you right now. And Ma'am Jack says healing hugs. Thank you so much. I'm sending them back. And Lakeside Laura says, great advice. Take care of yourself. Vitamin C. Yes, I've been like taking vitamin C tablets all day, and cutin, thyme tea, and like I've been doing all these things. Because I have to go on the airplane, and that already makes you, like, drops your immune system a bit. So I'm like wishing for the best that this will be over soon, and I'm wishing you happy holidays as well. It was so much fun talking to you all tonight, and Ma'am Jack says we have lots of waves of energy coming, sending strength and love and healing. Yes, it's true. And all the solar flares and all the retrogrades. And next year it will be a very, very interesting astrological year because all the outer planets will move into another sign, which will be like historical. I will talk more about this in January when I get back. So I'm already looking forward to seeing you all again and talking more about all these crazy things that will happen in 2025. It will be such a transformational year. Yes, it's going to be very, very interesting. So thank you all so much for being with me here tonight. And I'm sending much love to all of you. And I will see you again in the first week of January. So sending much love to you all. Thank you so much. Bye bye.